Hey guys, it's Saf here with another Raid Shadow Legends video, and in today's video, I want to go through some of the events that have been announced for today, what's happening this week, and the second week of the Titan event. Plus, there is also news about free gifts, and these gifts are actually really good. Surprisingly very high value for just completing a web quiz. So we're going to look at that as well in today's video. So the first thing I want to go over is this anniversary summon pool. Now, I actually think this particular Prism summon is not very good. And the main reason why is there is more legendaries than they typically do. We've got basically, was it 12, 14 legendaries? And the whole point of the Prism summoning, the real value of a Prism system is being able to target farm-specific champions that you don't have in your roster, right? So if it was like Kaimar, Harima, Stultus, Nishak, and you didn't have Kaimar and Harima, it's going to be like your best opportunity. Now, it's a 7% legendary chance, which is basically a Sacred Shard, and you get 30 summons. Now, they do always put 2 events, or at least 2 events on during this window. We have a Sand Devil, and that has got 30. So if you complete the Sand Devil tournament, you basically get yourself a free Sacred Shard. That is kind of the odds here, and it will give you 7%. Now, it doesn't look like there is a champion chase this Friday. It looks like they've replaced the champion chase with a deck of fates. So you probably won't be able to save these summons until Friday. Now, normally the events that are not champion chase, things like Summon Rush, Heroes Paths, they're always based on the shard you pull, which probably means that the prisms aren't going to count towards any sort of deck of fate points, but you can absolutely hold on to them and just see if they're going to summon. There's no rush to summon them. So what I would say is if you are a Sand Devil player, you can go do the Sand Devil tournament, grab the 30. It also, I think, is going to be in this Fire Knight Turn Attack tournament as well. So if you get 2 of those, I think you'll probably be able to get like 1, maybe 2 summons. It is a free Sacred Shard, so it's probably not terrible in that instance. But I do feel like there's lots and lots of legendaries here. There's a lot of epics, way too many epics, but there are some Mikage epics here. You've got Aelfric. I think there is also a Aishma, Fergan, Isbile. All of those 3 are the Mikage epics. So if you're missing some of them, then it might be an opportunity for you to get them. But the main thing I don't like about this particular pool is there's just far too many legendaries. I will say though, Newt, Nekmothar, Kaimar, Theodore, Harima, Stultus, these are very good legendaries. So at least they are good legendaries. It's just too many of them. So that is running for the duration of 4 days for this week. Now we got into the second week of the Titan event. There's 1,700 points or 1,750 points available in total, of which you can skip 250 if you want the Soul, which is 1,500. So I've done every single event so far. It's just happened to work out for me. I did all the Heroes Path. I did all of the Summon Rush. So I've got still 250 points that I can skip. Now this is my best guess for the point allocation for what is remaining. There may be some deviation, perhaps, for example, maybe the artifact enhancement's 100 points instead of 50. Maybe the dungeon divers is a little bit less. But these are the total points that are available and how I think they will be sort of distributed. I'm fairly confident on the Fire Knight and Spider and Dragon runs. They always tend to put 50 points on those. And we currently have an arena tournament that has 30, so the next one is likely to be 30. So it really depends on how they distribute the Artifact Enhancement, Deck of Fates, and Divers. Now the Deck of Fates is a summoning and champion training, so I don't really know how the distribution is going to be, how good is leveling in that Deck of Fates, but expect there to be 250 to 300 points. So the way that you could basically approach this, if you've done everything thus far and you have spare points, there is a strong possibility that you can skip a good chunk of the Deck of Fates if you can get some of the points, or it's only 250. That will be the big statement. If it's more than 250, you'll have to do some of it, so therefore you'll have to try and get lucky and flip the actual deck points, but there's a chance you can skip it all. Now the divers is always pretty horrible as well, so maybe you want to do all the Deck of Fates but you skip the divers. It just depends on how you want to position yourself, but certainly this is the distribution of points you're going to have left for you. Fire Knight, Artifact Enhancement, Spider, Deck of Fates, Divers, Arena, and Dragon. We actually have 2 Dragon Turn Attack tournaments for the first time. Fire Knight is going to be on during Clan vs. Clan. I think there's a ×3 Savage, so that is a big deal as well. Those are the few events that are going on. That's the remainder of the Titan event. So we are coming to the end of the anniversary event. It is in about sort of a week for, I think it's around about the 4th of April that it comes to an end, and then we're going to go into another fusion cycle, which I'd imagine there's more things going on. One thing to note, there will be likely a free regearing event any day now. It could be that they do it on the weekend, but I would imagine, don't be surprised if all of a sudden there's a free regearing event that just drops. I did wonder if it would come in today. They did say it would be halfway through or in the second half of the Cursed City. Friday would be, a month since the last regearing event. So if they plan to do it on a monthly cycle, then Thursday, Friday will likely be a free regearing event for the Cursed City. Obviously, for your entire account. So if you need to take advantage of that, plan ahead, think about Friday. But it could happen any day now. So just be prepared for that if you do want to take advantage of it. Now let's go on to the main thing that I want to talk about here is the anniversary gift that they have announced. So there's a Raid 5th anniversary quiz. We hope you've been studying up. It's time to take on a special quiz. Armanz has been hard at work devising questions that really test your knowledge of Raid's many champions. Now I've got a pretty good memory of everything that happens in this game. I play it way too much, so it'll be interesting to see how I do. The anniversary quiz is available from March 25th to March 31st, so don't miss out. You basically got 5 to 6 days to do this, with players who answer 5 or more questions correctly earning themselves a special in-game reward. Don't worry if you don't ace the test in the first try. You can take the quiz as many times as you like to earn a passing grade, but you will only receive the gift once. Cool, so you don't have to get it right the first time, and you will get the rewards on April the 2nd. So let's take a look at what this is on about then. So the rewards are actually pretty crazy. We get 250 multi-battles, 500 energy, a legendary book, an XP barrel, and a 5-star chicken. That is really, really good. So just for answering a quiz and having a bit of fun, that's a great free reward. So this anniversary event, I think, has been pretty good all around for everyone. We've had a really, really strong fusion. We've got a fusion Titan event that's given us 5-star for that fusion. We've had a guaranteed per drag. Those are all like what we would consider the Kraken events, but we also had a very good free gift right at the start of this. If you are a bit of a spender, then you've had lots of better packs than normal. So the game has felt a bit more forgiving to the player. They've given a lot back this month. So, you know, this is a nice little cherry on top of the cake that we've had. So what I will say now is I'm going to do this quiz on this video. If you don't want to be spoiled, if you don't want any spoilers, stop watching right now. Don't watch anymore. If you want to do this yourself, just stop watching. I'm going to do the quiz, though, on this video. Okay, let's go then. Start the quiz. Let's see what it is. Okay, guess the champion from the lore snippet. Oh, I'm not very good with lore. If this was never, you'd probably know it. The great city-state of Ireth has existed for nearly all of history, and for most of its existence has been known for the legendary Mage Academy. Now, this is likely talking about Call of the Arbiter lore, where we had Valkynon, which could be Bad El-Khazar, the powerful necromancer. I feel like it's Bad El-Khazar. I think it's Bad El-Khazar, because I'm pretty sure Lady of Ireth was released at the same time as Valkynon. I'm pretty sure it's Bad El-Khazar. Yes, we got it right. Okay, so I'm not totally useless. Guess the champion from the description. This champion is an outstanding tank with a unique passive skill that allows him to soak up part of the damage from allies received from critical hits. That's Isuga Warcaller. That's really embarrassing, I know this. That is Stultus. Oh, is that Dracomorph? Ooh, that's Stultus, right? If it's not Stultus, it's Dracomorph. Or it could be Rock. No, it's Dracomorph. Of course it's Dracomorph. Stultus wears Dracomorph's head. That is Garlic. I think that's Garlic, yeah. We're 4 out of 4 so far. Heals this champion by 30% when they kill an enemy. Enemies by this skill cannot be revived. I think that's Inithwi. 6 out of, what is it, 5? Right, that's definitely Tormin. Has a 20% chance of placing freeze. Tormin. I think we're going to be perfect here. This is really sad that I know this. That's Hegemon. This isn't a fun challenge. This is how much do you play Raid challenge and the embarrassment that you get for knowing every single question without even needing to think about it. The lore was the only one that I had to think about. So what you then need to do is go into your info, grab your player ID. Do this by basically going into your profile at the top left here, grab the info, grab the copy of your ID here. Then you head back over to the website and just enter your number so that they will basically give you the rewards. So on the 2nd of April, we should get all these bonus rewards, which is a nice little bonus towards the end of the Titan event. Now, the only thing I want to talk about now is the summoning for the CVC, this window that's coming in the next 2 days. They have announced a progressive summoning event. Now, normally these are really for people who are willing to spend because you don't normally have the luxury of burning shards. But if you've been holding on to your Void Mercy, this one is going to be interesting. So on Tuesday, we have got a progressive summon for 4 non-Void legendaries. This is going to be Helikath, Archbishop Pintroy, Underpriest Brogni, and Valkyrie. So we've got Helikath here, who is a previous fusion. Very useful in lots of situations, used a lot in unkillable teams for lots of high-end dungeons, but also is used as a damage dealer in Arena. Has a very cool ability where he will essentially place block damage, and then if anyone attacks his block damage champions, he attacks with his A1, which will ignore shield. So very good at countering like bolster teams, Necret teams. Very nasty if you can't get rid of this block damage, it can be quite quite destructive. So we got him. We've also got Archbishop Pintroy. He's a great support for, we need lots of accuracy because it's accuracy aura, plus he brings a lot of cleansing and healing in terms of the A3 here, but he's also a block buffs candidate for Hydra. So if you lack block buffs options, then he's not a bad shout. We all know what Brogni can do. Brogni is still very strong, although he's kind of lost his shine because of the nerfs to Cadaver and Infinity comps and everything. But he's still one of these very cool champions that does a lot of damage when you reflect on the shield. He heals a lot as well from the passive here. The allies heal quite a lot while they're under a shield. He's got a buff removal ability on enemies, also a debuff removal on allies, also a HP burn. Absolute carry if you pick him up. He's still a very strong champion. And finally, we got Valkyrie. Valkyrie is one of the few counterattack champions in the game that is for all allies. Very useful in Fire Knight, very useful in certain places where you need to manipulate turn meter. Can be quite deadly in arena if you build her for damage, but she is the only one that can do like this 3-turn shield with a 3-turn cooldown and an AoE counterattack. Very, very unique ability. But here's where it gets interesting. The legendaries for the Void Pool. The first one we have on Tuesday is going to be Marichka, the Unbreakable. Of course, it's Marichka. What makes Marichka really powerful is her passive, in which she has basically no cooldown because the cooldown only applies to the active effect, which is the block damage. Whenever you kill her, she revives everyone. And when she gets revived, if you kill her again, she revives everyone. It's a constant cycling. She also is one of 3 champions that can fully restore all decreased max HP, which in arena is quite strong, and also places like Fire Knight and lots of different places. She also has strength and shield. She has a full cleanse. Her A1 is a joint attack with a random ally. And of course, her partner in crime, Taras, is a big part with her. Those two have been dominating the arena meta for ages. This increased the resistance of all allies for each debuff removed. Has no cap. It absolutely has no cap. So this could go on to infinity. The other one in this pool is Emic Trunkheart. He's a recent fusion from about 6 months ago, but absolutely god tier in places like Hydra for being able to reset the skills of your heroes. Very good for perma-taunt in Hydra. Very good for Iron Twins, Shogun's Grove, to be able to taunt and be able to control the damage output. Also unlocks Clan Boss Unkillable if you can set it up correctly with the Unkillable buff here for all allies, usually used with a Painkeeper in a sort of a 3-1 setup, but you can do it, you know, in other situations as well. And he does have this kind of unique thing for arena, although it's not that powerful, where if you attack him under a shield, you can put your skills on cooldown. It can be quite annoying, but he's an absolute monster because of this taunt Unkillable with a shield and a decreasing of the cooldown of all ally skills. Now on Wednesday, we have got 4 more non-void legendaries. The main standout probably is going to be Trunder Guilt Mallet. We all know Trunder is currently dominating the Hydra. I actually have a video coming out in a couple of days on Trunder in Hydra. It's absolutely dominant, mainly because of this A2 where she can attack one enemy, 60% of the damage is then done to all other enemies, and it's kind of like repeating the damage from that first hit because of the way that the mechanic works, which means she does billions of damage in Hydra. If you pick up her plus Emic, for example, you are on your way to be making a non-Yumiko Hydra team work, which is probably going to be better than any key that most people can produce. She's also still very good in arena, but she's lost her place. She's not really a meta champion anymore because she just can't hit hard enough, unfortunately, the way that the mechanics work. But she still can do a good damage output on here. If you have a very strong Trunder, she's still a bit of a monster. The other crazy thing about Trunder is her base stats are incredibly high for a damage dealer. 22,000 HP, some of the highest base HPs for a non-HP damage dealer I've seen in the game. I think that is even higher than many actual HP-based damage dealers. It's bonkers. We also have Stultus Dragonbane. He is excellent in Dragon because he cannot take poisons. It will reflect back to the enemy. He cannot take Weaken. It reflects back to the enemy. Very good at defeating Agreth, but actually has a very powerful place in arena because of his ability to place the increased defense buff. So he self-buffs, then he has 2 AoE damage dealers, and is also Force Affinity. So he's excellent into things like Rotus, can absolutely do a lot of work. So a great option for an arena pick if you need someone who's like a defense-based damage dealer. He's probably the best defense-based damage dealer outside of someone like Solus with Siphi, or some of the more like very niche picks. He's probably the best universal defense-based damage dealer that you can pick. But he's very, very good for Dragon. He's also very good for Agreth. Then we have 2 probably less desirable picks purely because of the way that they are just because of who they are. We've got the Samson the Masher. I've recently picked this guy up. I haven't really done so much work. He is kind of useful for some Cintranos waves if you just lack some options. He tends to sit in some Cintranos floors where you don't have many damage dealer in options, so he can be quite good. He's very good if he gets an extra hit if he kills an enemy. If he doesn't kill an enemy, it's a bit weak source damage because he is HP based damage and he doesn't really have great multipliers if he doesn't hit twice. The main thing that we all know Samson for is fighting him in Cintranos. When we have to face him, this passive is frustrating because you tickle him and then he comes in and he stuns you. And that is kind of a frustrating thing to fight in PvE content, but I don't know whether he has any value if you put him on your team. But he does have, you know, an extra buff, extra turn mechanic. He's tanky, he's HP based, he will do a lot of damage if he kills, so potentially quite good. But I've only just got him, so I haven't had a chance to use him, but certainly not something that I would chase in a in sort of a clan versus clan chase. We also have Sun Wukong. If you already have him, you wouldn't really want to summon him, although 2 Sun Wukongs are pretty powerful. He is pretty much dominating arena. That is where he is used more than anything else. He does have Hydra usages with his block buffs as well, but really people just use it. Like, he's the first pick in gold live arena. Every time I fight live arena, he's first pick because of the damage output that he does with his A2 more than anything else. He does have the sheep factor as well, but it's the damage that he can do is just obnoxious. It's a bit like Siegfried, but Siegfried can crit. He can't crit, but Siegfried can, so it's kind of like that same tier. And then we come to the 2 Void legendaries. The obvious thing, of course, is, well, we had Marichka, so we have Taras. Taras is still a monster in arena. Although there are more options than there ever are, he's still really dominant. Basically a Seer nuke that isn't based on enemy max HP. Bonkers damage. This ability, if he's paired with Marichka, is horrendous. It will absolutely one-shot anyone. It's about a 0.7 times multiplier if you set it up correctly. Hits really hard. He's very difficult to kill because he reduces all damage by 50%. He also destroys your enemy's attack value. So if you try to kill him with an attack champion, not only are you getting your damage reduced by 50%, you're losing half of your attack over the fight as well. He also places a fear. He also does turn meter boosting on his A1. He hits really hard on his A1. I mean, he is an absolute monster. He needs a nerf. You can't even destroy his max HP because his HP damage scales on his HP at the start of battle, unlike all other HP based champions who do it based on their current HP. He's doing it based on his HP at the start of battle, so you can't even counter him with something like Life Harvest. He is just a bit of a monster, honestly. He's crazy. And finally, the last one, just to go over it, is Tua Masia. I really like Tua Masia. This can hit quite hard in the right setup. It's difficult to set up because you need HP burn on all targets, but I've hit like 1 to 2 million hits in Hydra with this ability. It's also one of the few champions in the game that can bypass Poison Cloud. So if you bring this champion, you don't necessarily need to have block buffs because the HP burn will apply even if there's Poison Cloud because it happens before she attacks. She basically burns, then attacks, then places the stun or decreased speed. We also have an A1 decreased defense, and we have this kind of like weird passive where whenever an ally under a HP burn, you know, this champion's immune and a bunch of different weird stuff. But the main thing we're using it for is the HP burn on Poison Cloud into massive, massive damage. This is huge damage. Some of the biggest hits in Hydra that you can do for a single target non-Trunder scenario. So those are going to be happening over the next 48 hours for CVC that is going on, which is, of course, personal rewards. But there you go, guys. I didn't want to extend the video too long, but I probably did go over those heroes for summoning news. I thought I'd just let you guys know. Make sure you do the quiz before the 31st of March to get your free rewards, and I will catch you guys in the next video.